if you're thinking that you want to look great and you're building your profile, okay, but I think maybe you can take a step back and think about others
Yeah.
as well, not only about
I think
yourself.
I think in recent years, entrepreneurship become trendy. It's
Yes,
what the
it's a
Gen Z say,
lifestyle, a
and they
lifestyle.
say like you glamorize the good part, like
Yes.
oh I secured 10 million funding, I have a good office, I looks
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
Google office. They glamorize that, but actually in reality, the
It
ones who doing it,
it
we
sucks.
sacrifice a lot.
It sucks. And I told you many times before, and even last time when we were in Ho Chi Minh, the best advice, if I could give advice, is to not be an entrepreneur, to not be a founder.
There's
To
so many things you sacrifice. Yeah,
the
I,
sacrifice, but
like
also
the
I think
time you
it's
spend.
but also this might sound strange, but I also think this is kind of privilege. Yeah, you sacrifice things, but you put yourself into that position.
Yep, you
So
wanted it.
you wanted it, so you give it all. You do your best. You make mistakes.
Hmm.
Things happen, but at the same time, it's because you still have an option, right? You choose to be that,
Yes.
and if you choose to be that, I wouldn't say that you can't complain, but at least you need to be a bit more humble
Yep.
and try to give back or try to help each other. Yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
So that's how I think about it in general. But I advise to not become a founder.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Mini CEO podcast. I'm Audrey here, and this is Diego from Shieldbase AI, and we will let him briefly introduce himself first.
Well, hi everyone. Thanks, Audrey, for having me. It's a pleasure to be part of the pod. I'm Diego Rojas, founder and CEO at Shieldbase, and actually a software engineer from the faraway land of Argentina. But after moving, to many places and working for many companies and building startups, I'm here in Malaysia, in Southeast Asia. Malaysia is home, and building Shieldbase AI, basically helping enterprises to adopt AI safely at the workplace, to reap all the benefits, but to be in full control how they are using AI.
Cool. And how did you I think we met in Vietnam last couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I heard that you are like 7 or 8 time founders. What got you here?
Yes, I founded a few companies, a few businesses, um, but I don't know. I feel like instead of saying that I'm a founder, I like to think that I'm a problem solver.
Hmm.
Okay, I like to think that you know if there is a problem, if there are issues, and understand one or two things about that and the market in general, then I try to build a solution, and of course that has to be a proper business as well, right? So yeah, I started a few businesses in the past years, from software development houses, helping other people to build the products, small businesses, and prior to Shieldbase, also YC startup in fintech. So yeah, I feel I'm quite old already by going back and remembering all this. But yeah, it's been a long journey, but always learning.
Right. You're the second XYC founder I know. And could you share a bit more about the experience when you were in YC?
Well, it was a great experience. This was 4 5 years ago now. Um, I mean, the community, the network is just unparalleled. It's the best. It's great. I think sometimes you are on these meetings and there is the Airbnb founder, there is the Collison brothers from Stripe, and you can reach these people and they come to talk to you with the best advice, very tactical and practical advice, because these people have made it. They built huge businesses and unicorns and all that. But I think they're also very down to earth, especially when you're part of the YC community. There is some sort of a covenant there that you have to help each other, and I think that's very powerful. And I think one of the most important elements of YC is not only the badge that you get and that kind of brand, but I think it's the network and how companies end up working all together to help each other and accelerate the growth and push their businesses.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. What I notice, because sometimes people reach out to me and we talk about YC and things like that. I think it might not be needed, or you don't need to be thinking that you're building a startup for YC or to get into YC or for the purpose of. I mean, if that's your goal, go for it. But I think if you are really legit building a business, solving a problem, I think there are ways to get into it or to work with other partners, other type of accelerators, incubators, or investors. But it's just sometimes I feel that there is too much focus into getting into,
Yes.
but with little substance. And maybe I will advise that, oh, if I can, to just focus on the business, focus on what you're solving, and then things will happen.
Yep. To be honest, I read a lot of how people, there's a forum in Reddit that
Yes.
people talk about YC a lot.
Yeah.
And in some sense, people stray away from solving the real world problem, but to game how to get into YC and get like get the branding, like you said, it's just I think it's,
Well,
as a founder, you don't need to purposely do that. It's like a bonus, like you get into it because it's like the top accelerator in the world.
that's right.
But it's not necessary. Like,
But at the end of the day, you have to put the work and the effort. I mean,
yeah.
let's say you get into it, this is a great community, a great network, but you are the one who have to make the most out of that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, yeah, there are office hours, there are resources available, amazing people giving the best advice and the branding and all that. But if you still go and do mistakes and do the wrong things, make the wrong decisions and focus on the wrong things, if you don't talk to customers,
Yeah.
things are not going to work. And
Mm.
you also might find that even if you do a startup school, which is all the resources, the YC resources that are public available, if you follow that, and even if you do YC, you'll find that most of the advice is very simple.
Yes.
Build something people want, talk to customers.
Yes.
It's just one line. But I think what I believe as well is that sometimes the right words coming at the right time can really unlock
Yes.
you as a founder and as a
Yeah.
person. So yeah, it's something that I appreciate. But at the same time, the advice, it might sound trivial, but it's powerful at that particular moment.
I totally get it because I've been following and watching YC YouTube videos or podcasts for years, right? And I totally got that like eureka moment when I watch something and I'm in that journey at that time. And I think yes, YC videos, it's very pretty simple formulas. But what I realized, just sharing my insights after hearing so many and being a founder, what works in the West might not work in Southeast Asia at
100%.
all.
100%.
So there are something you can make it work. Like yeah, the first step is talk to customers, build something someone really wants. Yes, that is generate for all
Hmm.
globally,
That's right.
but certain things doesn't work in Southeast Asia.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
I experienced that firsthand.
Mm.
I think trying to apply the same model or the same business model,
Mm.
building similar platforms that are somehow successful in other markets, move that into Southeast Asia or into other markets, it doesn't really translate that well. There are a lot of nuances, a lot of context that have to be, applied to the
Yeah.
solution and to the business. And sometimes I think if you go deeper and analyze even more,
Mm.
what you might find is that what is a real problem over there is not really a problem over here.
Yeah.
And then that's why the solution really doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And then when you build a solution that fits the actual market, you'll find that the business model doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's why you really need to think about, well, do I build the same thing as in the US over here? Do I just one to one build the same platform, the same product? Or do I just talk to as many people as I can to understand what are the pain points and to understand if they are willing to pay for this or not?
And I think what really works is you can see how Uber started in the West and then now here it translated into Grab. And both, I think they are not, even though they are in the same business, but may be very different.
That's right.
Okay, let's pull it back a step to now, since that is like a few years ago, like you said.
Mhm.
Let it be in the rear view mirror. And we want to talk about Shieldbase
Sure.
AI. Yep. And I wanted to know how long have you been working on this and when you started coming up with this idea and how you met your co-founder. Yeah.
Oh, well, we've been working on this for 15 months, around that 15, 16 months. Um, Initially, the main problem was around data privacy, and many people reaching out to me back then from my network and friends, and friends in corporate, like, hey, we want to use AI, but there is this problem around data privacy. We don't want to share our information with the incumbents, the open AIs, and all that. Can you build something? Sure. And also from my personal experience working with corporates as a consultant as well, building stuff, I started just building an MVP. And the MVP was focused solely on data privacy and obfuscating, redacting sensitive data, and then forwarding to the models. But very quickly, we realized that okay, this is a feature, not a product, uh, because this was or had to be part of something larger, an ecosystem of products that we had to orchestrate and make it work together. So these corporates, these clients, they wouldn't have to build things by themselves. Because if I gave them an API, they will still have to build all the integrations, right? And a way to use it. Then, you know, moving from that initial MVP, we included API integrations to any systems. We included enterprise search. We included agentic AI, reports and chatbots. Basically, all the products that a company really have to use to embrace AI, whether it's to boost revenue or increase efficiency or reduce cost. So we put all together, but still at the core we have the data privacy layer and the initial products that we built. So that's essentially how we kept evolving. And there are more things that we're launching and putting together. But I think at the end of the day, we believe in this horizontal play, and we want to enable cross team collaboration. Uh, because what we believe as well, and this is the actual problem that we have found beyond data privacy, the problem was around governance and how organizations can really control how they're using AI with their own company data, right? So yeah, that's essentially our journey, our evolution. And we met with Jeffrey first in Penang. There was this event from AWS. So shout out to Gas and our friends in AWS. So there was this event, and I already built the initial version of Shieldbase, and then we started talking to Jeffrey. And the very next day, we were already working in this Starbucks. Like we just uh, talked the previous night, and then the next morning we were working already.
Oh, wow.
And Jeffrey came with this background of leading digital transformation and for many corporates in the region and in other countries as well. And then he came with the go to market and many other things that overnight he prepared. It was pretty fast. And then with Ginny as well, we met in an event. I think I believe it was KL 20 or one event here in Malaysia in KL. And then same story. The very next day, we're already in this cafe, just looking into different strategies, expansion plans, and things to add in the roadmap, different areas we should focus. And she also can prepare. And, we kept working together since then. So, very important for me, I mean, for everyone, I would say, is to work with the right people. And how do you know who is the right people? Especially if you don't know each other or you never work together. I think comes down to integrity and to people doing what they say. And even today, they are still executing what they promised from day one. So
Wow.
that speaks volumes.
Does that come from experience to identify who you can work with?
Yes,
Because I think this doesn't come naturally.
100%. I think it comes. I had a chance to work with many people from many different countries, many projects, and I also did so many interviews in my career for clients or hiring people for others corporates, and it's kind of I already have some heuristics when I'm engaging people professionally, right? So I think it's important to perhaps focus on the soft skills, how people conduct themselves, things that they say, the things that they share. Of course, the experience is important. The hard skills, the technical skills are important, certainly for certain roles.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, you know, integrity, and there has to be an overlap in terms of values and principles. Um, and also, it's very important from day one to, especially in a co-founder relationship, or working, with people in the management team, to really understand, to be fully aligned, what are the goals, um, as a company, personally, in our roles, not only the split of the work and what we do,
Yes.
but I think it's important to understand what do we want out of this, and why we're here, and why do you want to be part of something.
Yep. Yep.
So, but you need to have those conversations. You need to be fully aligned. Otherwise, if there is a misunderstanding and it's not addressed early on, it's going to come back at some point and it's going to damage.
I think so it's really lucky. Like I'm not sure, but through one meeting or one event, they became your co-founder. I think that is something don't happen every day.
It wasn't.
And
It wasn't. I mean, we met. We started working, but it's not like we decided to become co-founders right there. We kept working together for some time,
okay,
and then
okay.
okay, well, this is a relationship that has to grow to the next level, and that's how we, sort of structure it, right? But of course, we kept working uh, for quite some time until we okay, this is we have to really formalize this.
Right. So because what I'm saying is you it's very hard to convince someone to be a founder when they are a first time founder.
Yes, yes.
So if you are a repeat founder, that makes sense. But I'm not sure if Ginny and Jeffrey is.
Jeffrey, yes. Ginny, yes. Early team member of multiple startups, so they understand, of course, what it means.
That's
But
cool.
I also agree with you that it's not easy to make that leap of faith and,
Yeah.
and trust, and
Yeah.
jump on board. But I think it has to be as well a little bit with the mission, and sharing that long-term vision of where this has to be, and if that is exciting enough for you to be part of it.
Yeah.
So
I think working in from me, I'm a first time founder as well. Coming from corporate and doing a startup, it is really different. And you have to let go a lot of the corporate mindset
yeah, you have
and
to.
do it imperfect. It's always never perfect moment to do something. And you just have to do it. Something like that.
Yeah, I also worked in corporate before, but let me tell you a little secret. Um, I'm actually, um, many times founder now because I'm unemployable. I'm unemployable. Um, when I, let's say, if I work in a company like a corporate, I just feel that things are too slow, and there is too much red tape. There are too many procedures and policies. I understand things are there for a reason, and things have to function in that way for a reason or multiple reasons. But I just cannot take the politics. I cannot accept how slow things move sometimes, and that's why, well, I rather go out and build stuff, solve problems, because I cannot take the corporate
Yeah,
environment. Sorry,
I
just sharing.
totally get it because you feel that lifelessness when you are in corporate. But now I'm doing startup, I feel very alive, like doing things that is really impacting the real world and not just doing something that somebody told you to do. So
I
yeah.
mean, there is nothing wrong with that. I think
Mm.
also I don't want to sound like when I'm judging someone. I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
To each their own, and again, things function that way for a reason.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, if you have a safe job and you're doing a great job, and it's good for the family and for whatever you're doing is also delivering impact, I think it's actually great. It's just personally in my journey, I feel very constrained
Yeah.
in that environment, and then what can I do? Well, I have to come up with things
Yeah.
and build things.
Cool. And talking about shoe-based solution, um, so I understand. I know your first liner was something like, it's an enterprise AI, and it's like a operating system for enterprises.
Hmm.
I think I don't say it well. Can you like share your?
No, you said well, but we well. An operating system is a, I always say, it's a fancy way to say that it's a platform. It's just a platform that has all the functions that you need to, in this case, adopt AI safely. And all these functions work together. All these components work together.
So I wanted to ask if I'm an employee in a company that adopted Shieldbase
Yeah.
AI, and how would I use it on my day-to-day task?
Great.
Mm.
So first, you have to connect your usual software, your Office or Salesforce, or any even in-house software that you might be using. You plug it into Shieldbase, and then the data is going to be synchronized into Shieldbase. One of the components of this operating system is a knowledge base, and this knowledge base keeps constantly synchronizing data back and forth between Shieldbase and the systems that you use at work. Now, you can just right away start searching for things. So you can basically find any piece of information across any system in your company in Shieldbase. And that's great. But on top of that, you can start generating insights. You can build slides, you can build reports, you can query different things without knowing where this data is coming from. It might be coming from your CRM, might be coming from a data lake, it might be coming from files that you uploaded, your emails maybe. And all this orchestration happens behind the scenes for you to basically do your work. So effectively with different AI models behind the scenes powering this, you no longer need to use ChatGPT or all those external solutions. You can just use Shieldbase, the interface, basically do your work. And what is important as well is that all the models that are operating, the platform behind the scenes are also grounded on your company data.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're going to give you random responses or very
Yeah.
generic responses.
Yeah.
This is going to be accurate
Yeah.
and relatable to your company.
I think that is amazing. Does the interface look like the ChatGPT, or it looks something else different?
It's better, let me say. No, it's pretty similar because I think we want everyone to be familiar with the interface and to make it easier for everyone to use it. But there are multiple ways to access it and to use it. Um, and again, it's a little bit like a copilot, ChatGPT, Power BI, and even some chatbots that you can build and connect to certain workflows. And this can also be exposed anywhere. You can take it and put it in a website, your website, or your mobile app, etc., etc. So there are multiple interfaces, but we try to keep it as relatable, as simple as possible for people just to get on board it easily.
Right. I When I first heard the name Shieldbase, you know what I thought about?
Tell me.
Shielding your database.
Well, still, that essentially uh, is was the initial idea, and it still is, because there is something we have in the roadmap a little bit later down the line,
Mm.
um, on the road that actually delivers to this name.
Mm.
Like,
That is really how your brand is really connected to what you really provide, and I really like that.
we want to keep it simple. I think Shield always speaks about
Mm.
protection and base, but effectively we're a knowledge base with all the AI,
Mm.
sort of models behind the scenes and the integrations and all the features. But at the end of the day, it's knowledge base.
Yeah, that is so cool. I recently saw your shoe-based AI on LinkedIn posts a lot. And that is because you got funded by Gen AI Fund, by First Move, and Tenity.
That's right.
So how is that journey is like for you before you got funded? And because announcement it just depends on when you want to announce it, but how's the journey, the entire journey of fundraising is like for you?
Well, initially we were just bootstrapping
Mm.
when we started Shieldbase, and for many months just bootstrapping and getting some revenue because we wanted to validate the approach further, and we want to keep I want to keep iterating on the product and the business. But then some opportunities we came across some opportunities, and the first one was Tenity, and we started to think maybe we need some strategic partners here, um, maybe a CVC or maybe a corporate who can actually invest and support us because it's very important to work with the right partners at the right time. I mean, people might say any money is smart money. Maybe not. Maybe you want to really work with the strategic partners, uh, investors who can add value to the business. and can really take you to the next level. So first Tenity, and then, well, we also got to meet Genuine Fund, First Move, and also angel investors. And I think at some point, we've been talking for weeks, if not months, and I always kept updating our friends. It's something that I do often. I kept always updating about our progress to some people I want to work with potentially. So I send this newsletter to investors, to partners about what we're doing, what worked, what didn't. And it happens that after some of these newsletters, we of course started to work more seriously with Genai Fund, with First Move, and also again angel investors. But angel investors that are very strategic, they come from different corporate sectors, and they're also helping us with go to market and distribution. So yeah, that's a journey. But again, one thing that is very important is to something I said earlier, working with the right people. Right? How do you know they are the right people? I don't know. They just always show value first. And I think with most of these investors and our partners, before we sign a deal, they wire the money and all that, we actually get to work together and we experience firsthand how it's to work with them, and they show value from day one.
How do you approach? I understand the newsletter part where you keep them updated about your progress, but how do that invite them to, like, provide value? Because it's really difficult to, okay, so let's say I attend a few events that the investors that or VCs that are in that event, and I spoke to them, maybe see them 5 times in different events, and that's builds up, like, oh, they know you are doing what you do, you're building a startup. And but the next step is pretty much difficult, in
Yes.
my personal
Understand.
experience,
Understand.
to invite them to work with you with
Mm,
with no string attached, basically, first.
okay. No, I hear you and I understand where you're coming from. Certainly, yes. Fundraising is it's not an easy journey as a founder. Um, but one thing that I can say is that you need to know who you're talking to. I think sometimes uh, we tend to talk to everyone. Oh, you're BC. Okay, I pitch to you. Well, they might not be able to invest because their fund is, a health tech fund, and you're not building in that space, for example. Or maybe they are just raising their fund and they cannot really invest. So what happens is that they're doing their job as well. They're doing their work. They're scanning the market. They're meeting founders. They're learning. Everyone is learning, and sometimes there are engagements. Sometimes these engagements lead to nothing on your side, but maybe they just learned what they needed to. Because again, they're doing their work. And I think this is a personal opinion. Going all the time to the events also might be a negative aspect that they might uh, sort of think about you. Not you, sorry, not personally.
No, I understand that, but why?
Because if you're too, and also I'm saying this cognizant that I've been in a lot of events lately. uh, if you're not, if you're in an event, you're not
Building.
building, you're not doing something more impactful. Um, I mean, some people might think about that in that way. Not saying that it's all the time the case. Definitely not making it personal or nothing like that. I also think about it like, if I go to this event, my entire day will be lost somehow. And I know that if these people is going to be there, they're good friends. It's good to catch up. But at the same time, I know that we cannot really work together. There might be sometimes some introductions, some connections that happen through people. That's important. Events are great for that. Networking is very important. But I think using that tactically is better than brute force it and being everywhere. So at least that's from my experience. Now, how you make the leap to the second phase to turn something casually into a serious engagement? Uh, I wouldn't say it's a bit of luck, but it's a bit of knowing who you're talking to, doing a bit of work beforehand. If I'm meeting this person in this event, I know that they just raised a fund, for example. I know that they invested on that one, and I know that I don't know somehow they are keen into this sector. Then I think one important way that you can try to is come to them not pitching or selling, but
But
providing some insights.
oh,
Providing, hey, I saw that you're doing this. Hey, but how do you think about that? I saw that this is happening this way. In my experience, it's like this. And then I think you have to really understand that at the end of the day, they are also learning, and everyone is learning. So I think sometimes we think that we just go and sell and pitch and pitch and pitch and
mhm.
do it in the best possible way. I think that's great, but sometimes being more tactical about it, building a relationship rather,
Yeah.
showing that, hey, maybe I can invite you the next time to our office or to this program because you actually are the right fit to talk to that particular partner.
Yeah.
So thinking about these relationships in this way, adding value to them is one way to maybe, at least in my experience, to secure the next meeting. It's all about the next meeting. It's not about today.
Just sharing something I did was in back in March.
Okay.
Um, it was a very tactical move that I want to share is something I did with David. So in February, I remember it was a Valentine's Day that
Oh,
Antler office they have an event that everyone get together and they have a boot camp running there.
okay.
And I was surprised to see Chrissy there.
Okay.
Chrissy from Fire Global. And we share with her our idea and all that stuff. And she said, oh, because Fire Global, there's a office in San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Of course. And it's like our idea about Swing.ai, about building an AI digital twin, is more um, easily adopted. Like the idea is easily adopted in the West more compared to Southeast
Yes.
Asia,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we know that, and so it's sort of like telling us that maybe this is more suitable in SF. And fast forward to March, there was an International Women's Day. There's a speed pitching for female founders. So, and I went for the speed pitching. I think it's more of a thing that I know she's gonna be there listening to pitches,
Yes.
and I wanted to ask her if she would introduce us a partner in SF or her coworker in
Yep.
SF office because David is going to SF in like next week, like
Okay.
in
Yep. Yep. Yep.
March.
Yep.
So basically, it's like we wanted to ask her like, hey, maybe David was an X500, like
Yep.
he joined Fire at Kobe in the past.
Yep. Yep.
So like hey, he was an alumni. Maybe when he's in SF, go visit the
That's right.
office
Of course.
there.
Because
And sort of this kind of move get David to visit someone
yes.
there.
Yes.
And when he came back, we sort of got a second call to pitch our idea.
That's nice.
So even though it doesn't result into like an investment or securing fund, because it takes a lot of call, and we just want to keep the building that
That's
relationship going
important.
on.
Yeah.
And I think it's exactly what you mentioned just now.
Just being,
Yeah.
you were very tactical about it. You
Yes.
knew that she'll be there, right?
Yes.
Then you did your homework and you found a way that, okay, there is an event, David is going there. So you were very tactical and direct about it. I think, but always, building relationship and not being very transactional. I think that's also
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
It's not about being transactional. It's about adding value, providing value, and making most of the time and the face time that you get.
Yes.
But you were very tactical about it, and you never know, this might turn in something in the
Yeah.
future, right? Or sometimes connections, introductions,
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that is just one example that
that's right.
founders can do. Yeah.
100%. And sometimes it goes the other way, to introduce customers.
Mm.
Sometimes it's about feedback that you might get. Sometimes, if you go to an event or you talk to certain people, what you want is them giving you feedback instead. And it's not all about, hey, what can you do for me? Also, you
No.
can also give feedback and provide insights, and really add value. I think that's important. um, and if you also become very transactional, or all the time pitching, and not really adding much to the conversation,
Mm.
um, sometimes that turn people off.
Mm.
So yeah, being tactical,
Yep.
but always adding value is important.
Mm.
Mm.
But the thing is that, for example, my strategy is using social media, or doing like sort of like a social hack to get people to know about Swing AI, which is why doing podcasts, sharing on
That's right.
social media.
That's right.
And I think when we say we are a B2B business model, but we're using targeting like bottoms up and also top down approach both ways. We do social hacks to also target
Mhm.
B2C, which is developers who use AI twin. Some we see might not like the idea, like you are a enterprise AI doing B2B business model. Why are you doing sort of like
Yes.
social media?
Yes.
And they don't understand why we are doing it. And for me, I think it's important if I want to take VC money, is these kind of values that you want for
Yes.
your startup has to be aligned in some ways.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
No, I totally hear you, and I think at the end of the day, you want to work with the believers.
Mm.
It's very hard to turn a non-believer into a believer. It's very hard, especially early stage, early days. So you rather work with those that understand what you're doing, those that can provide value, and those that can also give you constructive feedback as well. Also, there are many VCs that might not be, I wouldn't say interested, but they're, I think 99% will give you some random canned responses about why they want to invest. But there is a small percentage still that they care, and they might tell you or provide you some constructive
Mm.
feedback, because I think they also value the relationship, and they want to keep certain optionality that in
Mm.
the future maybe why not you can work together.
Mm.
But I think it's important to work with the believers, like you said. Otherwise, even if you get money from a non-believer, life becomes harder down the
Yeah.
road,
Yeah, it
because
does.
there's a misalignment.
Yep. I know fundraising is tough. Like I hear people saying you need like more than 10 calls to get to the term sheet stage. Or how is that journey for you?
Okay, I just can share from my experience and maybe some of the signals that are helpful for me, or maybe in general. I don't know. The only thing I would say, I mean, as a general thing, is that time kills any deal. And if you're getting too many calls, most likely there is no deal. Okay? So when people like you, like what you're doing, decisions are quick, especially in the early stage, because early stage are backing people. Okay, there is a large problem that the team is solving, they're building this, but down the road you might end up building something else. So initially, always investors are backing people, investing in people. And are you eloquent enough? Can you articulate what you're trying to do to solve the problem? Yes. And those decisions might happen in one meeting, two. Maybe there is a third for due diligence. There are some checks. There are files, data room, things that you have to prepare or you need to have always ready. Um, but if you see that there are multiple calls, multiple meetings, and more people being involved, and especially in the early days, right? Um, then most likely the deal is not happening. And there is a way around that you can try to ask feedback, constructive feedback, and try to basically get a decision quick. Like, okay, is this happening or not, guys? You can also say that you might be talking to other people as well. You can play your cards, with integrity and honesty as well, transparency. But I think if you see that conversation are dragging forever, yeah, most likely it's not happening. And the risk of all this is that you are, I wouldn't say wasting, but you're spending too much effort and energy in things that might not materialize in something, an investment or anything. So, I've been burned in that many times. And at the end of the day, I don't pitch to everyone when I engage investors. I have a pool that, yes, I like these guys.
Mm.
And I only keep talking to this. There are some inbounds, there's people talking to you sometimes.
Mm.
But I think decisions happen rather quick than and dragging
Right.
forever.
Okay. Because from what I hear, like those successful startups that got fundraise, what they really always do is to create that FOMO effect. Like FOMO as in like VCs talk to each other and they will talk about their startups. They will ask like, hey, how is this startup doing and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And they what the tactic I learned from those startup founders, they kind of like create those formal effect, like talk to, like a week, in these 3 weeks to fundraise, you talk to 50 VCs, and when they ask you, are you talking to someone else, they will say that, oh, I'm talking to this guy, something like that.
I know. I know what you mean.
What do
Um,
you think about that? It's not necessary.
I don't think it's necessary, but to each their own. Especially in the community in this region, we all know each other, kinda.
Yeah,
I mean, also among VCs,
it's a small
it's
ecosystem.
some small ecosystem. So yeah, you can try to drive FOMO, but at the end of the day, they might know that it's not real, it's not true.
Mm,
So I think at the end of the day, you have to be transparent. You have to build a real business.
mm,
You have to focus on the metrics that can move the needle, and not build a startup for a VC or for raising money. Build a business to solve a problem, right? And from there, things will follow. And you don't have to really think about FOMO or playing these games and trying to trick people to think that you're doing better than you are, or even that you are talking to these famous people and they are in or not. So I know that there's a lot of that in the market. uh, Again, to each their own. It might work for some people, but the issue that I see with that is that because it's not built on solid foundations, this might hurt down the road. Imagine that you raise money very quick, good deal, good valuation, great brand of investors, great firms, but you actually haven't built a product.
yeah.
You actually haven't tested anything. Most likely, the next one is a down round. If you can raise again, most likely you need a bridge. Most likely, you have to shut it down.
So, what are the early traction or early progress that is important for a startup? Maybe in your opinion, because every startup is different. So, is it like getting your first customer, getting your first 10 users, things like that? What can move forward as an early stage
Hmm.
startup?
I think it's different depending on each business, but at the end of the day, it has to do with revenue, uh, and solving a problem in an impactful way that you can measure.
Mm,
But I think it comes down to basically building a business that can make money.
mm,
Because if you're building a business that is losing money, and you need to rely on VC money
yeah.
or debt or anything to burn to keep running, then it's unsustainable, right? So I think at the end of the day, it really depends on each um, industry that you're targeting. But one thing that doesn't, I believe that doesn't work anymore is MOUs, LOIs. I think in my experience, that's kind of meaningless. Anyone can sign, and you get your friend to sign, and it's non-binding, so it doesn't represent revenue or real impact. It has to be at the end of the day, people paying for what you're doing. Maybe not paying too much, but paying enough to validate that there is willingness to work with you, to use what you're building, and there is intention to keep this relationship for a long, long time. That's the recurring part. The other day, I think they see that you're solving a problem that helps them to also boost revenue, become more efficient, etc., etc. And I think by getting revenue, by getting these metrics, you also build your own credibility as a founder, as a company, and then you don't need to rely on all those tricks and games that we were talking before.
Right. That is actually us when you say just securing LOIs, interest. I think we are at that stage right now. Yes, we get interest, but because we're still building, so we have kickstarted our pilot project, but doesn't mean that translate into revenue instantly. So that is something that I personally struggle
I
right
mean, there
now.
is nothing wrong with doing it,
Yeah,
sign the MOUs and
yeah,
LOIs, but using that as a proof of traction, I think that's where the issue is. I think you can use that as a way to formalize your collaboration
yes,
and to have a way to push. the client, the partner to deliver to that promise, and then that translate into conversion, translate into revenue, and that is what you show to other people. At least
Mm.
is how we do it, or I do it, or
Mm.
I think it's better. Again, this works, but again, it's not a mechanism to show traction to investors.
Yeah,
It's not a solid mechanism.
got it. Thank you so much for your advice. And I want to congratulate you again on your this fundraising journey. And
Okay,
coming
thanks
to
for that.
an end, I always ask in my podcast, like this last question is, if since we are all startup founders, what would be the ask if your our audience is listening right now? Yeah, any ask is like more users, like if anyone interested in Shieldbase, they can contact you,
100%
things
can.
like that.
No, thanks for the opportunity, and yeah, always reach out to us. Website, LinkedIn, to me personally. We're always looking for more enterprises. Also looking for talent. Very important. Looking for talent, great talent, product engineering, account management, all across the board. Even if you don't know what you want to do, but you want to be part, just reach out. There
Wow.
might be ways to work together. So I was looking for driven and highly independent people as well. We like to move very fast, and we believe in trusting people and people doing their best work. um, so yeah, talent is a big ask, I would say. Anywhere you are in Southeast Asia, that works. But also enterprises and customers, or even if you are working in a company and you feel that things can be done in a better way, happy to explore how we could work together, and we can help you to do your best work where you are.
Thank you so much for having me. And
No, thank you for having me. I mean, really appreciate the time, and was fun actually. I love it.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Audrey.
yeah. Thank you for your time. Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.